Okay, hello everybody. So, just while we're getting set up, my name's Phil and welcome to the live stream today. So hopefully everybody can hear me and everybody can see me. I am having a bit of an issue with my camera, it keeps flashing, so hopefully that won't be too distracting. But yeah, so let's get started today. So first of all, if you're watching us for the first time on the live stream, don't forget you can also go to our YouTube channel where we have lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of videos all about the IELTS. So over the last year, Michael and we have made over 100 videos all about IELTS, all about our experience teaching the IELTS. Michael and I have been teaching the IELTS for many years, and all of that information is in the videos here. Yeah. So I'm getting a very fuzzy camera picture for me. So I don't know what's happening with that. Maybe I'll just turn off my camera and we'll turn it back on again. See if I can try and fix that quickly, because obviously everyone wants to see my face. Is that working? Oh no. Let's see if I can activate it, disactivate it. Okay, right, technical issues. Hopefully that will fix it. No, camera's not working very well. Never mind. As long as you can hear what I'm saying. Working very well. Never. And the other thing to know is that on the IELTS Grind, Michael and we will be going live 6 days a week for at least the next month, and possibly longer if it's helpful. So if you go to our website, the IELTSgrind.com, and then live-stream-schedule, you can find it here on the menu, and you can see we have our schedule for the upcoming month. So you got each day, the time, whether it's Michael or it's me, Phil, and what we're going to be concentrating on and the topic. So for the month of June, July, we will be going through writing. We're going to be concentrating on writing. So by the end of this month, you should be an expert on writing. And we're going to split it between lessons, and we're going to have corrections. We're going to have real students submitting their essays, and we will correct them live in the stream. And the thing to remember is that the IELTS Grind, Michael and me, Phil, we are based in Taipei, and this is the time in Taipei. So when we say 2:30 p.m, we mean the time in Taipei. So what we've done is we put some handy little clocks here for you. We've got India, New Delhi, Cairo, Ho Chi Minh City and Bangkok. But you can go and check your time based on the time it is when you look at this page. So this is the schedule for the next month of live streams, which we're going to be doing 6 days a week, and you can catch them there. The other thing to remember is we also have a Discord group that we're starting, which means that you will be able to practice. And if you want to find out where that is, all you have to do is, if you go to any video on the IELTS Grind YouTube channel, if you go down to the description, there's lots of useful things here. You will find the Discord group here. You'll also find the Facebook group here as well. You can join those absolutely free, and the more people that join, the more we can practice together. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at a correction for a student. So this was submitted by Trendy, and this is the question that they were writing about. It's a task 2 question. It says, in some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for young people who decide to do this? Okay, and this is the essay that Trendy submitted. Okay, so Trendy wrote a massive 428 words. This is a lot, and I wouldn't expect many students to write this much in a real exam. But if you can, it's not a problem, but it just doesn't happen that often. So let's just go through and think about this question a little bit together, okay? Because what I've done is I've corrected it already, but I think we need to think about the question. We just got to think about the plan a little bit. Okay, so we'll do this very quickly because in another live stream we will be going through each type of IELTS task 2 essays and talking about the structure and everything. Okay, so if you're watching this and you can't read it on your mobile, don't forget, I'll put this into the chat, don't forget that you can access the document. So let me, if I go into this live, so that's me talking, we don't want to hear me talking. If I put this into the chat, you can follow along by going to that link, which will bring you to the document that we're looking at here, so you can read everything yourself. So the plan, basically, the first thing we want to think about is the task. What is the task? What are they asking us to do? And we only really need to look at this to be sure of the structure. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for young people who decide to do this? Basically, we can answer the entire essay with one word: yes or no. Not yes question mark, but yes or no. So this means it's an opinion essay. Okay, so that's important to know. Hi Naz, thanks for coming. And we're going to go through this correction very soon. So this is an opinion essay, and the tip here is when you give an opinion, we recommend that you 100% agree or disagree, meaning stick to one side. The reason why, good, you found the stream, excellent, that's good. So the reason why we recommend you stick to either having a positive opinion or negative opinion or agreeing with one side or the other is because it's the easiest essay to write, and you only need to write the easiest essay. So this is important to remember. What we should do is to pick one opinion, either yes, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, or no, the advantages do not outweigh the disadvantages. What we don't have to do, and what many students think this essay is about, is, so let's try and get that on the same thing. Lots of students think this is a advantage disadvantage. This is wrong. It's not this type of essay. If we think there are more advantages, we only have to talk about advantages. If we think there are more disadvantages, we only have to talk about that. You are not being asked to discuss both sides here. That's important. Okay, so let's look at what Trendy did. Okay, so task response here. Now, if we go back to the description of this video, we can go and find down here writing task 2. If we open this up, we can find the band score descriptors. If you want to know how to write a good essay for IELTS, you need to understand what this is about. Okay, so I think possibly this is a little bit off screen. See if I can get it to look a little bit better. Okay, so maybe this will be in the middle a little bit more. Okay. I don't know, possibly put it back up, see if we can find it. So yeah, if you want to come and look at this, because I'm not showing on the screen very well, unfortunately. Maybe this will work better. Anyway, so go find this in the description. There are 4 marking criteria. This is what we'll be looking at today. And the first one is task response. So this is how well did you actually answer the question? Did you do everything they asked you to do? So if we go through this, I like in the introduction how Trendy has clearly put their opinion. They understood this was an opinion essay, and they said, in my own perspective, the gains of working or travelling for a limited period of time between their secondary and tertiary education is more than the demerits. This is an opinion. This is really good, good start. Then it says the work and travel exposure pupils get immediately after their secondary studies might have some negative consequences for a number of reasons. Okay, so this is a little bit actually of an issue. Just change the because here it says, in my perspective, the gains of working or travelling for a limited period of time between the secondary and tertiary education is more than the demerits. And we go straight into why it's a bad thing. But the thing is, throughout the paragraph, Trendy does support the topic sentence. So it's not entirely wrong. It's just a little bit confusing. The opinion is the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Yet we've dedicated an entire paragraph to why they are why they're bad things. And at the end, which we'll see later on, it goes through all this, which you can read yourself if you want to. And it says, however, these demerits is insignificant because the effect of these 2 reasons can be reduced minimally. Basically, this is what we should be talking about. There's a lot of information that doesn't fit the thesis, that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. If we go on to the second paragraph, Trendy does a much better job here. We have a clear topic sentence. The work industry and travel exposure youngsters get for 1 year in between their college and tertiary academics is highly beneficial to them for a couple of reasons. This is a very good topic sentence, and it clearly links back to their thesis. This is good. Okay, I just realized my camera is no longer on. I'm going to put it back on. I've been looking at the camera this whole time and it's not been on. Never mind. So we've got a good topic sentence, and then the rest of the paragraph, which we'll read, fits the topic sentence and the thesis. So Trendy goes on to say, before students can be able to apply the knowledge they acquire from their university studies. They need to have a form of exposure to real-life practical skills. Hence, it helps students in practicalizing their theoretical knowledge acquired in high institution of learning. A case in point is in China, where year 1 students are actively involved in the production of smartphones. Furthermore, while students are studying in the university, the one-type travel and work experiences help them develop their entrepreneurship, that's the word, skills, because the trips they made to other parts of the globe help them imbibe good management. Guys, I can't talk today. I didn't get a very good night's sleep last night. My brain is not working. I will try that again. Help them imbibe good managerial skills. A clear example is a course mate of mine who decided to set up a business with a very little funds after graduation, which has evolved into a multi-million Naira business after 8 years. Okay, so what's good here? Well, Trendy develops the idea that there are a couple of reasons which are beneficial. They go and talk about each of them, and they give some clear examples. Okay. And the last example here as well. It's all very good stuff. And in the conclusion, again, Trendy, if you read it, they restate their opinion. To conclude, despite the manageable drawbacks of exposing secondary school leavers to travel and work industry, which are desire for early worth and unserious attitude to their academics, the merits is far more than the demerits because of the practical and entrepreneurship prowess they develop from such exposure. So this again is similar to their introduction, their thesis. So this all ties in together. So this is why I believe Trendy would get somewhere between a 6 and a 7 for task response, probably closer to a 6, just because of the first body paragraph being a little bit off topic to what they said in the thesis. Okay, if you're still with me and you've got any questions, don't hesitate to leave your questions in the chat. I am watching it as I go. We've got Naz in the chat so far. So if anyone else joins, don't hesitate to ask questions. We're doing a correction, and if you jump in, don't forget to jump to the live bit. Don't watch it on the playback, because we can interact. I can answer your questions live. I'm here to help, but we are looking at this correction. So hiya, thanks for joining us. I'm going to probably murder your name. Do I say, like, is it Binha or something? The problem with Michael and I, we're very bad at pronouncing names. So if I pronounced your name incorrectly, I do apologize. Okay, so cohesion and coherence. So the second way that we grade IELTS. So again, let's go through this. So basically, the introduction, the thesis, is the gains of working or traveling for a limited period of time between their secondary and tertiary education is more than the demerits. They are saying that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. In terms of cohesion, as I said before, the topic sentence in the first body paragraph doesn't match up really here, because rather than exploring how the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, we've gone into talk about disadvantages. And although everything in the paragraph does match up to what the topic sentence says, which is good, it's not difficult to understand. The last sentence, however, these demerits is insignificant because the effects of these two reasons can be reduced minimally. We need to expand on that. This sentence just at the end doesn't add anything. It doesn't go deep enough. So this paragraph is a real issue for this essay. Although it's written very well, it doesn't really support the thesis that well. I would always recommend that you 100% agree or disagree, and you only focus on why you agree or disagree. I think this paragraph is unnecessary. I would be writing about reasons why the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. So you might mention some disadvantages, but the bulk of this paragraph should be more similar to this one. Let's put this onto one page. So the second paragraph, in terms of cohesion and coherence, is a very good paragraph. The topic sentence here matches perfectly with the thesis, which makes it very easy to follow. All the ideas are well explained and expanded upon. The only error I can find is this one in red, where we have a comma instead of a full stop. If we have a full stop, it's perfect, but because there's a comma, it seems like the sentence goes all the way like that. It seems like that is one sentence, and that's a very long sentence. So it's important to get your punctuation correct, your commas, full stops, and everything like that. So overall, pretty good. And the conclusion is fine, apart from just the end here. The merits is far more than the demerits because of the practical and entrepreneurship prowess they develop for such exposure. The reason why I think this isn't a good sentence is because of everything that's written here. Trendy didn't develop this idea at the end. However, these demerits is, this sentence didn't develop this well enough for the conclusion. So although there's some really good things here, I think still Trendy would get between a 6 and a 7, but closer to a 6 here. Okay, so task response and CC aren't too much of an issue with this writer. But let's look at the other things. So what's happening here? Try and play around with this. Never mind. Okay, so here we're looking at lexical resource, and if you're watching this on the replay, get access to this document. You can find that in the chat. I'm gonna copy that again. Oh, maybe not. So go to the description of this video and access the document, because Trendy uses some excellent phrases. So everything you see in green are just brilliant phrases. Tertiary education. So we have primary, which is the first school you go to. We have secondary, which is the school you go to from the age of 11 normally to 18. And we have tertiary education, the third part of education. It works the same for industry. For example, a chair. The primary industry for chair manufacturing is cutting down the tree. The secondary industry is actually making the chair, and tertiary would be selling the chair, so tertiary industries. So that's really good. Pupils, excellent. Some negative consequences, some great collocations. Go through and you can adapt any of these phrases in green. Really good. But we're going to concentrate on the things in red. So in the introduction, Trendy says, in my own perspective, the gains of working or travelling for a limited period of time between the secondary and tertiary education is more than the demerits. The gains, it's not really interchangeable with advantages or benefits. It can't quite use it in the right way. The gains of working and travelling, it doesn't really sound the way that a native would say it. I would say the benefits, the advantages. And demerits don't mean the same as the opposite of merits. Demerits don't mean advantages. You can't use them interchangeably. Often a demerit is something in school where you've done something wrong and you lose points or have a lower grade. Also, it was an issue here. So Tundi said number reasons. They forgot to put of. So there's lots of little typos here and there, which you need to catch when you proofread. Here it says, since youngsters' brain are still fresh, immediately they graduate. It should be immediately when they graduate from college. Immediately when they would be better. Here we've got this same issue. It's a common issue. Even native speakers make this. This word is loose. It's not lose. Loose means the opposite of tight. You know, like a loose clothing. It's comfortable in the hot weather because it doesn't stick against your skin. Lose is the same as lost, to lose. So this is an issue that even natives have. So again, some great phrases in advancing their education prior to there. And then we have this phrase, higher institution education. Okay, I understand what Tundi's saying, but we just don't need this word. So I'm going to try and strike through. Where do I do that? I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to underline this. We don't want institution. It's not necessary. So higher education is the phrase that we want here. This phrase here, which might make them become unserious during their tertiary studies. Unserious doesn't really sound right to me. There might be a better phrase to say here. So they will begin to have excess desire to want to quickly get rich in life, which might make them become, I think, unfocused during that. Unfocused would be better here. That is the word I think Tundi is looking for. Here the error of Southwestern University, it should be capitalized. And rather than saying of, we should say from. Or we should say attending. A large proportion of students from Southwestern University, or students attending Southwestern University. Here it says in Ogun State. Now I don't know if Southwestern University is in America. There is no Ogun State. But if there is a Southwestern University in Nigeria and Ogun is a place, it should be capitalized. Now, my geography is not that good, so I don't know if that is a typo and it should be Ohio, or if Ogun is actually a place in Nigeria. It might be, but the examiner doesn't know unless you capitalize it. And we should say which is in Nigeria, if it's that place. If you're talking about a place in your country, always explain what you're talking about, because the person who corrects your writing may not be in your country. They often send the writing abroad. I think they actually do it in India now for the most part. So yeah, always explain it. This is a great way to pick up points because it's a relative clause. What else can I pick out? So here, the reason why I highlighted effects is because reasons. Because the effects of these two reasons can be reduced. Effects and reasons is not a good collocation. Causes and effects. This would be better. Causes and effects. Okay, moving on. So hopefully just by me talking through this and by accessing the document later, you can pick out some good words. Everything here in green is excellent. The stuff in other colors we just need to improve. So here we have the work industry. We might say, instead of work industry, we might say business sector would be better. Work industry is not a really good collocation. Business sector, this is much better. In between, it should just be in between. There's no hyphen. Tertiary academics. I understand what Tundi's saying here, but it's a bad collocation. It should be tertiary studies, tertiary subjects. Tertiary academics doesn't make sense. Again, some great green sentences. You can steal those. Here it says, before students can be able to apply the knowledge. I wouldn't say can be able. I think I might just change this to are able. It's not about possibility. It's about fact. Are able to do this. Moving on. So this is just a typo. Helps students in practical. See, even the spell check can't get this right. I think it's in using their practical theoretical knowledge. That would be better. So again, some great green sentences, great for stealing. A case in point is in China, where year 1 students, we would say first year students, and we wouldn't capitalize that. First year. In America, they have special words for the different years. In the UK, we say first year, second year, third year, final year. In the States, they use terms like freshman, sophomore. I don't know, I'm not American. But they have special phrases for all that, which can be great if you use American English. I think they would say freshman. I think that's the first year. I will ask Michael, he will know that. But first year is better than year 1. Smartphones, one word. Obviously you don't have spell check, so you've got to learn to spell. It's a common word. And the only issue here, 8, no capital. It's not a name. So that's just punctuation. And then everything else is great, apart from, again, a little spelling mistake at the end. So overall, Trendy has got some brilliant vocabulary, and it's vocabulary that you should be stealing. Tertiary education, that is beautiful. I think Trendy would get a 6 to a 7 here, and probably pushing towards a 7, despite some of the little errors here and there. They've got some really high level vocabulary, great collocations. I think they would be pushing a 7. And grammatical range and accuracy. So the first sentence of this essay is a little bit back to front. Let me explain. So the youths are motivated to gain some form of work or travel experience for a period of 1 year after they finish college, before they eventually begin their university education in certain parts of the world. It's not the way I would phrase it. First of all, we don't need this. The youths. It should be youths. Okay. So I might just rephrase this a little bit. I might say youths in certain parts of the can't spell world are motivated to gain. So everything up to there, I would change it to this. It's just the wording is a little bit off there. I understand what Trendy's saying, but it's just not quite the same as what a native would say. Yeah. Okay. In the introduction also, Trendy says the gains of working, the gains, plural, is. It should be are more than the demerits. Watch out for this. Make sure your verbs agree with your subjects. If your subject is using the plural form, you know, if it's a you, they, we, make sure you use the right conjugation. Yes, in the first paragraph, not too many grammar errors. Most of it's in green. Most of it's really good. But Trendy forgot to say the number of reasons, even though later on they used the same expression. That's just because Trendy didn't spend any time proofreading. Here it says since youngsters, it should be youngsters' brains. So this should be possessive. It's the possessive S. So the brains, there's more than one brain in youngsters, apparently. And again, we've got the same error down here. These demerits is. These demerits, plural, are. They are. We spoke about this error in the second paragraph. I'm moving through this quite quickly, guys, because you can come and look at this document yourselves and you can see what we highlighted. You can take all the good things and use it for your own writing, and you can see where the mistakes are. So here I said already I would change before students can be able to. I would say before students are able to. This is a common error here. So furthermore, while students are studying in the university, the 1 year travel and work experience help. The 1 year travel and work experiences help them develop. Actually, let me check I'm not using my tired brain. Yeah, okay, actually, I apologize. That's actually okay. Yeah, you can say that. That's fine because they help. That's good. So that's not an error. That's actually good. That's fine. And here at the end, a very little funds. We just don't need with very little funds. We don't need a because we've got funds in the plural. Oh, Naz, you want some grammar videos? Well, that is something we can do. If you go to our channel, very early on in our channel history, we did lots of grammar videos because Michael and I, we love grammar videos. We love to talk about grammar. We're weird. But they weren't very popular, so we didn't make any more. But yeah, we can sit down and talk about grammar, concentrate on that. That's not a problem. Grammar is just about the message that you want to tell the reader. That's all grammar is. Changing grammar to give a different message. And sometimes you can have perfect grammar and still not get a band score 9 just because it's not the way a native would say it, because natives use grammar in very particular ways. But yeah, we can spend a bit more time on grammar if that's what interests people. I love it, but I always thought students hated it. Okay, and finally, just another kind of error that Trendy has throughout: the merits is far. The merits is far. The merits are far more. So there's really quite a lot of really good sentences. Trendy actually has quite a few sentences where there's almost 0 errors, which would be pushing them past a 7. But because there are so many basic errors, like the using is instead of are, I think unfortunately this would push the score closer to a 6 than a 7. So overall we've got 6, we've got 7, we've got 6, and we've got 6. So if my maths is correct, this wouldn't really push Trendy up to a 6.5. It probably would be a 6. Yeah. What's the so where's that error then? Clear examples. Yeah, I might have missed a few here and there. So let's go back to the grammar part. Clear examples. This is, see if I can find it as well. Do you know what? I'm just going to cheat. I'm cheating, I'm sorry. Clear examples. Yeah, you're right. It's another error. Well done, well spotted. This just goes to show that you've got to proofread it. The best thing to do is when you go through these essays is to read them to yourself aloud. In the exam, obviously you can't shout, you can't speak loudly, but if you say the essay, it does something to your brain. Quite often when you read something, your brain will put in the missing word, but if you say something, you'll spot the mistakes. I really think that if Trendy had proofread this essay, then the score would be at least 6.5, because they wouldn't have made all those little grammar mistakes and spelling mistakes. It's possible that Trendy could have pushed this up to a 7, because the only thing really, apart from task response, it was a bit of a structural error because Trendy spoke about the disadvantages a little bit too much, where their thesis was about an opinion where the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. In the coherence and cohesion, yes, it was pretty good, but again, it was a structural thing. But the thing that the missed opportunity was in the spelling mistakes and in the grammatical mistakes. I think that Trendy could have got 7 in grammar. and with a 7 in lexical resource, that would have been a 6.5. So let's move on and look at the last thing, which is a model answer, which I wrote. And if you spot any mistakes in this, I will be very embarrassed. Okay, let's just remind ourselves of the question, and then I will read my model answer. In some countries, young people are encouraged to work or travel for a year between finishing high school and starting university studies. Do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for young people who decide to do this? So this is what I wrote. For many students around the globe, there is encouragement to postpone the immediate commencement of a collegiate career in favour of gaining working or life experience. So this is clearly me just saying the same thing but using some fancy words. Postpone, to put off, commencement, to start. Collegiate means anything to do with university. Yeah. I, for one, strongly believe this brief cessation to one's studies is of immense value and has almost no drawbacks at all. So I have given a very strong opinion that I think the benefits outweigh the drawbacks, and I've got to go through the essay and give support for that thesis. Let's see if I did it. The major reason why I believe that putting off enrolment into university for a school year is beneficial is due to the perspective it gives a person. So I've got a very clear topic sentence that goes back to my thesis. By that I mean you can learn an awful lot about yourself when you give yourself a moment to take stock of your present achievements and future ambitions. A moment to take stock. This is a pretty good idiomatic phrase, which is pushing me past a 7 in lexical resource. Not just with the one phrase, but it's part of it. For young people, it can sometimes be difficult to know where you want your life to take you, especially when all you have known is the scholastic. This is a very difficult phrase for me to say because I'm tired. Is the scholastic institutionalization familiar to youths? Oh, I outdid myself there. So this, it's not a very common phrase or common collocation, but it makes sense. Scholastic is a adjective to do with school. Institutionalization is when all you know is being in an institution, like in a prison, a school, or a civil servant job. That's all you know, the rules about it, how it works. You don't know how the outside world works. So that's why I put those two words together that may not normally go together, and also why it was difficult for me to say when I'm a bit tired. In my own personal case, I never took a year out and found that as a result, I chose the wrong degree for the life I wanted to pursue. Okay, the life I wanted to pursue. This is a good collocation. Therefore, broadening one's horizons. We all know this one. Through travel or work can help students to make a more informed choice over future course selection. A informed choice is a good collocation. Okay. Excuse me. In addition to the points made above, so this is some good referencing to what I've said before. We should be referencing as much as we can. Another benefit of taking a short but productive break between secondary school and university is that it impresses the true worth of education upon us. To impress something upon us. to impress something upon us is a good phrase, good collocation. That is to say that if a student takes on an interim job, this is a job they do for a short period of time, for a year or two, especially an entry level position, they will understand how important a good degree is to their prospects. Although there is a small danger of people going into the job market and then deciding to forego a university education altogether, for most it is a sobering experience. So this is a good sentence because it's using high level grammar. I'm using although to contrast two ideas. You know, although some people might choose to carry on working, most people find it a sobering experience. Sobering as in not a very pleasant one. I used to work in mail rooms during my summer holidays, and it certainly encouraged me to get a good degree. Okay. Therefore, even a short and unpleasant stint in a job, short stint in a job, this is a collocation. Short stint in a job can have long-lasting benefits for a future university student. In conclusion, I strongly maintain that having a year out after passing your secondary school education is a very beneficial experience, whether you work or study. As someone who didn't take a gap year, I now would encourage every high school graduate to do so. So here, I've rephrased my opinion and I've given a recommendation, which is exactly the same opinion I had at the beginning. So is this a good essay? Well, yes. Everything I write about supports my thesis. I do mention almost no drawbacks, and it's here a small danger people go into the job then decide to forego. This is where I mentioned the drawback, one drawback. So everything does match my thesis. It's got plenty of high level vocabulary, plenty of high level grammar, so this is likely to get a band 9 unless I've made any spelling mistakes, which I don't think I have. Okay, so that is the correction for today. If anyone has any questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat now. Now, if you would like us to correct your essay, even if we've corrected your essay before, we are basically your free IELTS correction service right now. Not many people are asking us to do this because they don't know about it yet. So if you want us to correct your essays, send it to the email above my head, corrections@theieltsgrind.com, and we will correct it for you. It normally takes a few days. We will do it in the next live stream. So again, if you go to the website theieltsgrind.com, you'll find in the menu live stream schedule, which will bring you to this page where you can see all these clocks, and you can also see our schedule. So today is the 7th of June. I started this at 7 p.m. It's now 7:55, and we were doing a student's essay correction. Tomorrow, Michael will be doing a map label for task 1, labeling a map at 2 p.m. This is a lesson. He will be teaching you how to do this. And then I will be back on Wednesday at 7. We'll be doing opinion essays. Again, a lesson. And then towards the end of the week, we'll be doing student corrections of task 1 and task 2. So you can see the entire schedule up until the 3rd of July. We are going live 6 days a week until July, and then afterwards we might do some more. Depends how many people find this useful and if they're watching. So don't forget to share it with your friends. So let's see what's happening in the chat. Okay, so can we use you in IELTS writing? Well, the thing is, yes, in an academic essay, it's best to avoid using pronouns I, you, unless we're giving opinions. But yes, you can use you in an essay, because when the expressions we're using with you, it's more of talking about society as general. Let's see if I can see in where you found it in my essay. So is it an example from my essay that we're talking about? I'm just going to cheat and see if I can find what you were looking at. Okay. Yeah, so for example, by that I mean you can learn an awful lot about yourself. So here I'm using the expression as in society as a whole, all individuals. So it works. It works because everything else is very high level. There is no doubt that I am a high level student writing this. So this would not be considered basic grammar, and it's not the wrong register either. It's not being informal either. It's just talking about general truths. Okay, and what else? Got Raghav has got a question. So yeah, writing an essay live instead of correcting. Well, this is the thing. What we plan to do in the essays, so we do corrections because it's useful for people to see that, but we're also going to do live lessons. And if you join us for the live lessons, we will literally plan the essay together, and then we'll go through and write it together. So the only reason why we're not writing things live is basically because we need more interaction. Otherwise, Michael and I get a little bit lonely, a little bit like we're talking to ourselves. But yeah, Ragad, if you join us, and we will do this live. We do brainstorming, we plan out everything, and then we go ahead and we write it live. That's an excellent idea. We can certainly do that. This is the benefit of the live stream, because if you have an idea, something you would like to do, we can do that. We have 24 opportunities to do that in the next month. So I will talk to Michael and we'll get that going for you. So can we use phrasal verbs like put off in IELTS writing? You can. You definitely can. Although, as you said, it is better to try and be a little bit informal. So for example, I've got postpone here, which means the same as to put off. Now, if I was going to talk about postponing again, rather than using the same word, I might use to put off. That would be absolutely fine. For most students, you don't need to get more than a 7 in your writing. For most students, most people need a 6.5. So it's okay to use that kind of language. If you're going for a band 9, ideally you wouldn't only use phrasal verbs, but you could use it in conjunction with the more official, formal phrase. And if you did that, it would show that you have a very broad knowledge of vocabulary. Okay, so the only way to really learn high-level vocabulary is to do a lot of reading. Of course, you can read model answers. You can find model answers like the one that Michael and I write all over the internet. But if you read things like newspapers, if you're reading in the UK, newspapers like The Times, the Daily Telegraph, or in America, things like the New Yorker, those kind of newspapers have very high level vocabulary. If you read magazines like National Geographic or Time magazine, these are these are places where many IELTS readings actually come from. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. So reading is really the best way because you learn it in context. If you learn it in context, you'll be better able to use it. If you just learn lists of words, it's not very effective. So procrastination is not quite the same thing as postpone. Defer would be better. Defer entry to university. Procrastination is when you do anything other than the thing you want to do. It doesn't mean exactly the same as postpone. It just means not being productive. I understand. Phrasal verbs can be tough. The real issue you're going to have is with the IELTS, it's just a test. Once you do it, the real challenge begins, and that challenge is learning English. And to learn English, you need phrasal verbs. But when you're learning a language, just suddenly it clicks, it takes off. So my second language is French. It took me a long time when I didn't understand anything. And now I watch a movie and I understand 99% of what is said. And that's just from exposure. So don't worry too much. You don't have to learn a lot to get through the IELTS, but afterwards you're going to learn so much. So how can you learn avoid wordy expressions or too long sentences? It's really the style of writing. The way you speak and write is you make a point and then you explain it or expand it. So the best thing to do is just to be direct with what you're saying. The more direct you are, the shorter your sentences will be, and the more likely they are to link up to each other. So that's the best advice I can give. Be direct. Don't beat about the bush. Be direct. Don't beat about the bush. Yeah. Okay. So if there's any other quick questions, don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Yeah, does watching movies and TV series help enhance English understanding? Definitely, Naz. Definitely. Again, with my experience of learning a second language, when I was learning French, I started watching kids cartoons, kids TV. And then I started watching soaps. So in French it was Plus belle la vie. But in England, the soaps to watch are things like Neighbours, which is not Neighbours, EastEnders, which is set in London. In Australia they have Neighbours. In America they have many different series. Friends, for example. If you watch TV 20 minutes every day, you will improve your understanding, your pronunciation, if you listen to how natives say it. But a general rule of thumb, so a general rule for you, is if you hear it in a TV show or in a movie, say it, don't write it. Because generally what they say is great for your speaking, but it won't be as academic as you need for your writing. So say the things you hear in TV and write the things that you read in the newspaper. So how can you find more ideas for IELTS writing? So if you're struggling to think about how to actually write an essay, as I said before, find lots of model answers and see what are the kind of things that they say. Okay, what are the kind of ideas that they use? Another way is if you can get together with another student or groups of students, then you go and you exchange ideas. What did your friend think about? So when I was teaching in Italy, I had a colleague, and we taught in 2 different rooms. And after the lessons, I would go to his classroom and ask him, Andy, what games did you think of today? He was very good at thinking of great games to play in an English class. So I learned some of my best ideas from him. So that's one way. But also, if you watch these live streams, we are going to do brainstorming together, and that will help you. But a good piece of advice is don't worry about having interesting ideas. Just have ideas that you can develop. So if you look at my ideas in my model answer here, they're not particularly good ideas. The first one is it gives you time to think. That's not a very interesting idea. The second one is it's basically saying having a bad job is a bad idea. It's not a very interesting idea. But the thing is, I developed it. I gave clear examples. That gets me a good grade. It's not the idea, it's how I explain it. Yeah, can you put personal examples into your essays? You absolutely can. We don't have the instructions here, but it says give examples or relevant examples from your own experience. It asks you to use personal examples, which is why I use them here. I mentioned about I used to work in mailrooms. That's because as part of task response, it asks me to give relevant examples from my own experience. That's the phrase. So yes, you can. And the Tonight Show, yes, Naz, that's an American show, right? Who is the presenter of the Tonight Show? I can't remember. Is it Jimmy Fallon, or is that another one? The Tonight Show. What am I thinking of? I know that the Late Show is with James Corden, who's British, and he works and lives in America, and that's quite funny. But yeah, watch as much TV as you can, and read as much as you can, and if you can, find native speakers, talk to them. There's so many opportunities to learn English every single day. Yeah, so is it Jimmy Fallon? Yeah, okay. How can we write an excellent conclusion? Yeah. So the key to a good conclusion depends on the essay that you're writing. For an opinion essay, as this one, you have to clearly restate your opinion, which is what I did here, and then summarize why. If you can do those things, give your opinion again and summarize why, it's going to be a good one. Yeah, I mean, all you have to do is say, in conclusion, for an opinion essay, this is what I still think. If you do that, at least you'll get a good grade. Just remember that most of the grade will be won in the body paragraph. The introduction and the conclusion are only there to introduce the context and to summarize your thesis. A hook. No. You, in your introductions, you don't need hooks. The IELTS essay is very different to a real academic essay. The examiner is paid to read your essay. All you need to do is, it's two parts really, your introduction. Two parts. The first part is basically context. The second part is thesis. That's all you have to do. Tell the examiner what the essay is about. Here this is the topic, and then tell them what you're going to do in the essay. For an opinion essay, you're going to write about your opinion, so you give your opinion. So we have plenty of videos about all of this on our YouTube channel, and for the next month we're talking about nothing but writing for 6 days a week. So come and join us for that. Yeah, in opinion, you can leave a recommendation. That's nothing wrong with that. As long as you restate your opinion, that will be good. You don't have to write a concluding sentence for each of the paragraphs, but it is a nice way to refer back to the main thesis throughout. It can be quite useful, but it's not necessary. It can be done without it. Yeah. Okay guys, so thank you for all the great questions. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, and if you think anyone would benefit from it, don't forget to share it with them. So you can find us in many different places. You can find us on Facebook. You can join our Discord channel here, all for free obviously. You can join us 6 days a week for the next month. Go to our website, theartsgrind.com, live stream schedule, and you'll find all the details there. But for now, I'm going to say thanks very much for joining us, and I will catch you guys in a live stream again very soon. I'll see you later.